Thank you. My name is Jinwoo from Spowers Architects, and apologies from Ross, obviously. He's here in spirit. So we see the intertwining of form and function in everything. The human anatomy of the hand, for example, is uniquely designed to increase flexibility of the thumb and allow the hand to grasp and manipulate objects more than any other part of the body. A form can never replace function. The form of a chair, for example, is what it is because it's purely driven by how a chair should function. And no matter how beautiful and aesthetic one might be, if it fails to bring comfort to the user sitting on it, it ultimately failed as a chair. But in the context of architecture, as just previously mentioned also, the first thing that comes to my mind is possibly the most overused quote in this past century by Louis Sullivan, that form ever follows function. And whilst it is overquoted, his point is that the style of architecture should reflect its purpose and time, not just as an ornament or just as a utilitarian object. If this building had 4 square sides and a flat pitched roof, sure, it may have worked perfectly fine as a concert hall, if not better. But it would have never been listed as a national icon of Australia, nor would it have made its appearance in every tea towers, posters and souvenirs around us. The Sagrada Familia also, this is arguably no church like this in the history of Western art. And almost all buildings are made up of columns and roofs, but here we see a secondary layering of symbolic function, which gives a narrative of the Catholic catechisms expressed through the stone engravings. And we aim to bring these ties of form and function in all of our body of unbuilt and built works. So looking at the unbuilt work, this is Spowers' proposal for a world-class hospitality precinct and hotel as part of the Southern Hill Master Plan vision. The hotel wings are inspired from the bold industrial nature of the miner heads that stood on site, as well as some more traditional wooden buildings within the Southern Hill complex. And across the complex, the desire is to create a place that is functional and artistic, modest yet grand, rustic yet finely crafted, and evokes a sense of curiosity. And inside the proposed restaurant, which you will see in a moment, load-bearing exposed timbers and rammed earth are carefully oriented to frame the view towards the Moloch heap and the poppet head, diverting attention to the place more so than the architecture itself. Similarly, the Gold Pavilion entry building, which marks the start of the Southern Hill journey, plays with form and materials to create a dynamic space recessed within its context. The Corten steel, Gabion walls, recycled timber and glass represents the 21st century insertion into the site whilst respecting the 1850s gold rush heritage that lies beyond. The entry building serves as a remembrance of the things past whilst providing a functional solution of how people move through exhibition spaces and precincts. And now I want to move on to talk about actual built work, the Rare Trade Center, which you guys are all sitting in here tonight. So in a moment you will see the 3D scanned image of what the amalgamation of the existing archives and exhibitions of the original Gold Museum looked like. And whilst the significance of these artifacts are all priceless, we wanted to bring back to life the character of the original building, which was previously hidden by the amount of artifacts within the space. And by doing so, we were able to do 2 things. First, clearly delineate each layers of the architectural history, from the original 1970s Ewan Jones building down to its 3 other subsequent extensions over the years. And by doing so, we were able to use these identities to establish the architectural DNA for the new workshops to essentially plug into. The textured concrete, warm timber accents, and the waffle ceilings were luckily all in very pristine condition for us to leverage off. And the skylights that you see in the middle there were previously all boxed out and painted. So it was a great moment when we restored these and saw the natural light flowing into the space, which gave it a really fresh breath of new life. We then tested the key functions of the new workshops to be inserted, caring for the technical requirements of the various workshops, but to also create a space that encourages and facilitates the growth of a community of creative artisans in line with the Rare Trade Center's values. And to do this, we explored the narrative of preserving the lost and the reclaimed into the new. This included sourcing reclaimed stringy bark beams which came from a reconstructed bridge off in Omeo, down to showcasing a series of industrial lights from a local vintage shop that dates back to the Czech Republic in the 1960s. And so these objects are then curated through the combination of digital design and traditional woodworking craftsmanship to exhibit the perpetuation of rare trades through the workshop facades themselves, in which like-minded communities can immerse themselves into. And the outcome of this is the seamless merging of the old and the new. And I really love these shots because it clearly illustrates how the old and the new are not trying to outcompete each other, but to serve in harmony as a backdrop to the activities that takes place inside. We also use light and texture to respect and rebirth the original Jones Brutalist building, and to also bring out the new in a cohesive layer by working with the grids of the wall ceilings. And whilst these custom lights were a bit of a pain to manufacture and get it right, it creates a captivating space where users can lose track of time and be focused on the trade. And these are all examples of the intertwining of form and function, where the utilitarian, the aesthetic, and the narrative are synchronized in harmony. And when a space achieves this, I feel it creates a sense of ownership for the end users. Form and function are meaningless without human context of place, comfort, and inspiration. So to end, I believe good architecture is a reflection of the brief and the space it creates and serves. And furthermore, it engages with the context it sits on to create a narrative and dialogue through expressive forms. And as I sit here today in Wadawaran country, it's so good to see the World Trade Center embraced in ownership, not just with the local trades that built the site, but also everyone here tonight, the diverse community that hopefully strives to serve. So thank you very much.